Welcome back to the Think Strong pod. Here we are. How you doing?
Good to be back.
Fully in the mix. Straight into it this week. We're going to catch up a little bit about our own sporting endeavours. I'll go first. Marbs. I've got a competition, the Marbella Championship. Would help if I said it right.
Marbella sounds good.
Marbella, yeah. Fucking hell, what's that? Sounds like some niche genre of music. But no, CrossFit comp as always, but slightly more tricky this one. Got to swim in the fucking sea, so that'll be fun. Have you ever done any swim fitness related things?
I haven't, but I did go on holiday last week, and even snorkeling, I was like thinking, "Fuck me, I haven't swum in ages."
I can remember we did a workout up in Canggu.
Horrendous.
In the pool, yeah.
Yeah, I got halfway and I was like, "No, I need to stop."
Yeah. I think it's all well and good if you're doing a few lengths that you can make when you can make them look nice.
Yeah, my school Kellogg swimming badges didn't quite come in handy.
They don't teach you how
pool.
to do it under heavy fatigue. So yeah, normally that's the thing with CrossFit competitions, you're just working off hunches, but you know what the common themes are, and normally they have a swim event every year. So 15 weeks or maybe 14 weeks now to get somewhat competent swimming in the sea.
Is it a swim into a run?
I don't think they will do that. They have done it previously where it's been very, very small run into then some like dumbbell work or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
But I think after the whole fiasco, with the games a couple of years ago, every swim event that I've seen from a CrossFit competition has been super, super safe, super well regulated, smart with the way they're programming it. No fucking long runs into the swims. You know, people are being sensible.
Yeah.
Hopefully safety protocol involved as well. It is in the Mediterranean though, obviously it's in Marbella, south of Spain, so hoping that it will be pretty calm and will feel like a pool. So
maybe, yeah.
We'll see.
Don't know if that'd be worse.
What, worse than
like heat, like a warmer swim?
I don't know how warm it would be compared to here. I
wonder what like the perfect temperature would be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because obviously your body temperature is going to be going up, and its ability to regulate based on the temperature of the water.
Yeah.
Obviously, like too cold or too warm would be lukewarm. It's got to be lukewarm.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe that's what it's going to be. Hopefully, It's going to be perfect conditions to set some world records. We'll see. The goal is just to not be last and to swim with somewhat competent technique throughout the whole thing. And I think for a lot of people in these CrossFit swim events, unless they have a swimming background, it is very much the same. It's a case of like, right, I'm just going to get through this. But yeah, it'll be interesting to go into a completely new discipline. Like, obviously I can swim, but swimming in the sea, especially, like I've already done a bit here, is very... It's nerve-wracking in the way. Probably is nerve-wracking because you think you've got good technique, you'll be doing everything correctly, being nice and calm, and then smash, wave comes in like where you're just taking a breath and completely like throws you off.
Yeah, I mean the sea is, or the ocean, whatever you want to call it, is so powerful. Like on that trip last week, we got out the boat, out dinghy to start snorkeling, and there was just like follow the one guide, and I didn't even have to do anything. The rip just like was just like snorkeling head down, like arms behind me, and yeah, it was just kicked very, very slightly, and it just took you I think it was like 800 meters.
Really?
I was like tracking it on my watch. It was so cool. Just like didn't even have to do anything. But yeah, imagine if you're like in the mix there trying to fight your way through it.
Yeah, going the other direction. Yeah, so hopefully there's no whitewater rapids where we're going to be performing this swim event. But going to be an interesting one either way, and I feel like it will build the armory of the understanding a little bit more of the demands of swim-related comps. We obviously don't really have many at all. So yeah, having another kind of string to the bow in terms of preparing for those comps is going to be... It's going to be cool. Likewise, with that, there's going to be a run normally as well. They kick the weekend off normally on the Friday. with a long run, and they have done like a 5K through the mountains and stuff before.
I think I remember Lex
Yeah,
doing really well on the run event
yeah.
previous years.
They change it about a little bit. Sometimes they do like runs where you've got like sprints in the middle, or they'll do something where they give you a sandbag halfway, and various different things. So ultimately looking forward to preparing for that and trying to get to a competent run standard as well, and kind of structuring training from now until then to complement that, as well as all of the other CrossFit goodness which is going to come up as well. How about yourself with sporting endeavors? Are you chasing anything at the moment? Comps, events?
Consistency with training. Which has been good recently. Lifting twice a week, Ollie lifting. And I'm doing like a fun team event when I get back to England. Team of 6, 3 guys, 3 girls. I don't know any of the girls on the team. I just know Jack and Joe. I'm going to be chasing their tails pretty much for the whole day. I think it's 5 events across the day. One's like a odd object strength kind of thing. Maybe like like the circus dumbbell or log, axle bar, clean and jerk potentially. One kind of like farmyard, which is a running event with hay bale jumps, and there'll be a carry, probably like a yoke carry, and then one erg event, 1 dumbbell, and then probably 1 mixed of like a bit of everything. There's like 1, I think there's 5 actual events and then 1 potential event. I'm guessing that's like if you get through to a final.
Is this farm fitness?
Farm games at Farm Fitness.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. They just opened another new gym. It looks really cool.
Oh yeah, nice. Interesting.
Yeah,
that was a good spot before actually. I remember their seeing I want to say their first new gym. So obviously they had their first iteration, and then they built that entire new building, and that looked cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Nice. I'm actually doing turf games, probably similar format, in Singapore in August. Just got roped into that. Yeah, so that'll be a nice little test before Marbella as well.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't really done any comps for ages. Did like High Rocks last year, but
before you were saying like when you very first got into training, it might have even been on our last pods, that how you were dealing with the fatigue from coming back to that. How are you finding it now? Has it settled a bit? Good. Yeah,
definitely. I kind of like those first couple of weeks though. Body's like aching constantly.
Yeah.
But now past that, which is good.
Yeah.
Just like kind of having a bit of a switch. Like last year I was putting all my time into developing a coaching course. And then this year I've like started to double down on getting fit again. Which is kind of important for people to listen to. Like there is certain times in your life where you need to peel things back. But yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, understanding the seasons of life, so to speak, is beneficial. And like as much as you think you can carry on pushing everything in all forms, like there's probably going to be a point where something needs to take a bit of a step back so the other thing can go forward. Cool. Carrying on the kind of chat in terms of programming and exploring different options. Something I'm doing for Tawny right now is developing a bit of an undulating method specific to CrossFit, heavily biasing strength, heavily biasing lower body strength for her. But it's something that we were chatting about just before, how effective that undulating method can be. So definitely excited to see some of the results that it spits out. But moving away from something which is so traditionally rooted in percentage based lifting will be exciting. Probably will allow for a bit more self-regulation and will allow for a bit more varying intensity on those different things. So do you want to talk about undulation a little bit and kind of your experience with it?
I think firstly, Tawny PB'd her clean yesterday, so it might be working.
Might
be working already.
We're at day 1, week 1.
Undulating periodization is really good. Something that I used with a guy called Dan Benson when I was like doing a lead up to a strongman comp, and we needed to push numbers gradually. And I'd already been doing like linear progression up to that point. So we would do like really low volume, high output in terms of load 1 week, and accessories to support that. And then the following week we would do like lots of speed strength work, slightly lower percentage, but adding speed into that. But then having like a kind of higher volume on the accessory work there as well. So it was like undulating, but also conjugate. So it was like strength focused 1 week and then speed strength the next week. And it worked really well for me in a periodized like approach. You're doing something kind of similar with Tawny.
Yeah, very similar. Just to clear up, like undulating, you can undulate in multiple different ways, right?
Yeah.
But the way that we're taking this approach at the moment, it would be, so it's a week A and a week B. The week A has the much lighter, higher volume focused Olympic lifting work to address some technical things, and where the high volume is with the Ollie lifting that week. The accessory volume is a bit lower, but the intensity is much higher, and you're really working to higher RPEs. Following week, exactly the opposite of that. Heavier, lower volume Olympic lifting, lighter, higher volume accessory work. And what we're going to do is we're going to have one speed focused day throughout both the week A and the week B, just to kind of complement and give enough frequency to the kind of weaknesses that we need to, while keeping an element of that kind of methodology underpinning things a little bit.
I think that's like better because it's like really specific to what she wants, right? For like me, I was doing like the strength and then the speed strength, but it was based off of like my back squat, my deadlift, and my press, because those are the three things in strongman that you need. So it would be like 3 days this week, 3 days. So it was an A and a B still, but I think in the speed strength I started off the first 2 weeks. This would also undulate, so I would do deadlift twice a week. Then it would be deadlift once, squat twice, deadlift once, squat twice, and that would keep undulating as well. So like the hinge would be like high volume for 2 weeks, and then it would come down to once a week, and then the squat would go 2, come down. So I could build those numbers, and the press stayed fairly consistent between a static and a dynamic. So it would be like strict press, and then push press in the week as well to do that. And then that was actually when I started learning to jerk properly, but with a log.
Yeah.
Before I even did it with a bar, which is kind of cool actually.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely we always talk about like the importance of dabbling in different methodologies and understanding that like you don't have to like invent something. There's so much work that's been put into all of these different methodologies with awesome results. Linear progression is not the only thing, but because people think they can design linear progression, a lot of the time they can't. Maybe we'll get into that afterwards. But because people think that it's nice and basic and easy to follow, they just stick to that the whole time, and they think, well, I've designed this, how could this possibly be wrong, and how could I possibly stray away from it? But we've spoken about obviously conjugate, 5-3-1, hack squat, like all of these different cycles, methodologies that can be pulled from, and like you can really make a Frankenstein's monster of a perfect program, can't you, by pulling from different things, so long as you're smart with how you do it. And that's what kind of fires me up, probably you as well, is learning more and implementing rather than just being like, okay, 1 + 1 must equal 2, there's no other possible way to achieve a different result.
Yeah, it's so good, and like seeing the results is just great from like playing around with that stuff. I got an online client at the minute, Jeremiah. He's a golf caddy, so he's like constantly in and out of like different hotels, different gyms, different countries. Literally, he's been with me for like 3 months, and he's fucking changed country like so many times. China, Italy, then he's in like Antwerp, England, Bali, back to China, and he's made such good progress like with his front squat. I started him like a linear progression, and then we went into like a 5-3-1 and just played around with that, like And I was just like, just keep this one thing consistent no matter where you are in the world. And then, yeah, he PB'd his front squat by like 15 kilos. Do you know what I mean? Just because he's never like been exposed to like a proper progression and then played around with something. And then the rest of his sessions, it's so funny. Like the rest of his sessions, I'll give him like a run or an erg workout that's either focused on push, pull, upper, or the same lower, like a lunge or a squat lower. And like I was like, mate, just like get in, start running, do these for like however many rounds it is, back onto the running machine. Just giving him really like simple, low effort, no need to think about what you're doing. And he's like made some great progress. Do you know what I mean? It's like just being able to pull from different experiences.
Yeah.
I'm like, today I just want you to get in there, get on the bike, get a pump on and get out and get ready for, because like those people that are traveling loads, they need as least amount of friction as possible. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, and that's what can be confused, right? Like people can think, oh, they need, they can't have any friction, therefore they can't have anything complex. But if you're presenting something in an understandable, digestible way, which is going to complement everything else that they're doing, moving into something like 5-3-1, not the most technical thing in the world, but it's very technical compared to like the way some other people perceive it. There's no reason why that can't be the case, because you've got the easy, like you said, low effort conditioning, which is just ticking the box and is really not causing too much issue, and that's allowing that catalyst of the 5-3-1 to really take effect, which is cool. Kind of touching on the linear progression thing, how many of those do you see on social media absolutely butchered?
Yeah, it's just it doesn't matter what it is, RPE or percentage, you can just see like the numbers just don't match up, right? It's like 4 sets of 8 at RPE 8. It's like fucking good luck.
Yeah.
And you can guarantee whoever's doing that doesn't understand what RPE 8 is or feels like, and it's impossible to do for 4 sets of 8.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of picking a number that sounds right just for where you're at, and then just progressing that, especially with the percentage based stuff. People just love 70-75%. Okay, sounds right, we'll start that there and then we'll progress, and then you see it just like go up and down and like dart around throughout the entire training cycle. I think we've spoken about it before, but to give people a whistle stop tour of like how we would choose out a linear percentage based cycle, you always look at the rep scheme that you're using for that moment. That might not be the rep scheme that you're going to use all the way throughout. You'll understand what the raw kind of max of your 100% that would be. For example, you're not going to do 5 reps, a 5 rep max. You're not going to perform that at 100% of your 1 rep max. Obviously not. It's impossible. That sits at about 87%. And then from there, you're going to work out your percentage increases for the amount of weeks you're going to be training, normally 2.5%. And then you're going to track back on that kind of scale to where your start position is going to be. And then obviously you're going to work out where you're going to deload and pull back from there.
People have never thought of that.
No.
I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
And I've asked people, even when I did the last course, I said like, do you guys know like where you would start with percentages? And these are people that train on percentages as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like they could ask really, and it could mean that they're not even doing like their actual percentage, because they're basing everything off their like suboptimal 1 RM percentage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are surviving lifts and then they're like, yeah, that's my 1 rep max. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like from a coaching standpoint, if someone's like doing strict press and they're like leaning back and getting the rep, and then they base their percentages off of that, like knowing as a coach that's not what they need is so important, right?
Yeah.
But being able, like, yeah, you don't have to tell them that for them to understand, but as a coach you should understand like how to work your percentage out, and like how that increase, that like 2.5% could vary based on the movement also.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like some people just don't. I see at the gym, like we give them the percentage or the RPE and people are like failing in the first set because people don't understand like how it should feel.
Yeah, and it's important to leave yourself room for progression. Like to take those big jumps, to overshoot things, and just to diminish the quality so early on in a training cycle is going to have a lasting impact. And whether that comes to burnout, whether that comes to injury, whether it just comes to not improving because you're not able to apply any kind of technical awareness to that thing,
Could be like very disheartening for the person trying to do it as well.
Definitely,
if you're getting it wrong.
Yeah,
like they're in week 2 and they're failing. Like it's like that's on you, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that is relative intensity, and that's what you're actually progressing week to week. You're not progressing your kind of raw intensity that you're working off. And yeah, to obviously, like we said, that's relative to that rep scheme that you're working on for that. And then if you move up to the rep scheme, or move down through the reps, to complement something, maybe slightly more top end strength, moving from a set of 5 to a set of 3, you'd work that back from the raw percentage from that as well. But yeah, just to give people a bit of an idea. Any last thoughts on relative intensity?
Go over most people's heads, I think.
They shouldn't do. So it's just basics, isn't it? But
yeah, I think just taking the time to understand it is important for people.
Yeah. And that there's a reason why the percentages have been programmed the way they have, if they've been done correctly. So that should give you an idea of the importance of them. Same with when you're doing things like 5-3-1, the importance of working off the relative intensity that's designed for that as well.
Yeah, that's off your training max.
Yeah,
so
that's off 90% a lot of the time, as opposed to it being off 100. And people think, oh, I just add 10 kg, it's fine, I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, can you?
And then you've ruined the whole premise of the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, different, maybe a whole different box of frogs to get into for another pod. But tapping into group programming, group coaching as well, versus one-to-one, in-person, online. Obviously, plenty of differences, plenty of touch points that you can have with people in different scenarios. Some environments work better for other people. What would you say are some of the biggest things that you've noticed in the gym that you're in at the moment, working with people one-to-one, outside of the obvious maybe? Obviously, we know you're going to be able to get into more detail, say, for example.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Yes, you can get into more detail, but I think one thing that gets really lost with personal training is you're not there just to get them through whatever's written on the paper. It's there to coach that movement to the best of your ability. So if you start the session and then somebody's not squatting in the way that you believe they can, the best way they can, you have the license to spend half an hour out of that 60 minutes really coaching that person and setting them up for success forever, because they shouldn't have to lean on you forever as a coach. Your goal is to get them to a place where they can just go and do it on their own. And I think sometimes that can get lost. You see it all around the world, but a coach will just stand there and watch the person do the movement with no kind of, and that kind of comes from a group class coach going into PT. They just stand there and they're like, yeah, good, you've done your 6 reps or whatever it is. They might give them a little bit of chat in between, but there's no kind of walk and talk through every rep, real coaching. Yeah, obviously the person's going to have to express the movement themselves, and you shouldn't be chatting to them all the time, but there's way more that can go into that session and value that you should be providing, other than just standing there counting their reps. Can
be like you said, a bit of a mindset shift, and difficult if all you've ever done is group coaching.
Yeah, definitely.
I came from a position where I was PTing first and then did a bit more group coaching. And maybe that kind of helps in that respect. Well, obviously it's going to, if you're talking about one-to-one coaching or PTing, But sometimes the mindset I see from people that are purely coming from a group coaching background is they're in this mindset of maybe just putting out fires a little bit more. Like they're just addressing things which seem maybe unsafe, and they're having to dart around doing that, 30 times over potentially in a class. Whereas when you're in that PT session, it's like you said, you've got the license to break things down. You've also got the license to look for issues a little bit more. You're not just making sure someone's not hurting themselves. There's like the next key, the next step to progress that's going to make that movement feel better, and therefore, allow them to achieve a bit more.
Yeah, it's so like, this is the difference between like being like a good coach and a fucking great coach. It's like you said, investigating what's going wrong and like actually being able to help that person. So I was PTing a guy called Charlie, and he's like the manager for like High Ushuaia and Universe in Ibiza. He's had a knee issue for ages, like knee pain consistently. And he came in for a PT with me. We like went through everything from his foot all the way up to the top of his body. I was like, shoes off. Okay, can you balance on one foot? No. Let's do some balance drills to kick things off. Someone else had told me what they thought the issue was with him. So I like took that on board, and then realized that that wasn't the issue. Like his foot function was like so poor to begin with that I needed to fix that first. Then we started like straight away. We was doing like a single leg kettlebell pass where you need to be able to stabilize through the foot, ankle, knee up to the hip. And then you're obviously adding in a little bit of movement, which is very slow. Then we looked at his hinge pattern, both feet on the floor, then in a B stance position. Couldn't do the B stance to begin with. I worked with him for like 2 weeks. Second week, everything was already starting to get better. Even the way he walked, he's like constantly on the outside of his feet. So like we were trying to get him to like flatten his arch from a heel elevated perspective, which like with somebody with high arches is good. Doesn't always help someone with a flat foot. These are like the nuances that you can see during PT. Got him like moving and functioning well with the foot first. And then he literally left a comment on a post recently saying like, thanks, you really helped my knee pain is like pretty much non-existent now. But like if you don't take the time to look at those things properly and then like implement movements where you can start to integrate that properly, then one, you're not really doing your job properly, you're just overlooking for the sake of it. Do you know what I mean? Like we always ended this session with like a little pump because that's what he wanted, like chest and arms. But like the main reason he came to me was like to function and get out of pain, where like pain is very complex. It's going to come back at some point because he'll stop doing the stuff that I gave him to do. But at least he has the tools now to get back into that because it's just how life works.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, you can dig in a lot.
One of the most satisfying things as well, I think, is helping someone with pain, and someone with an issue that's been plaguing them. That maybe feels like it's impossible, and you get to that point of like despair almost, don't you? When you've got that happening to you, it feels like it's never going to get any better. But
yeah, and when people like implement the stuff that you give them, and then they see, so like Allison, for example, the Brazilian guy, he's had like chronic shoulder pain for ages. And I was like, I can help you more if you let me like assess you and we'll do a session together. So we did like 2 PT sessions. First one was a more so like assessment, but just like took him through loads of different movements. It was funny, like got him on the floor in a glute bridge position, an arm at 90 degrees on the floor, and asked him to like rotate internally and externally. And his face was like the worst pain he was feeling. And I got a foam roller and I stuck it in between his legs, still in the same position. And I was like, squeeze this as hard as you can and bring your midline on. And then I was like, do the same thing. It's like no pain. Just like the way you can like contract and like integrate the whole body by using your midline and everything, it can tell you the story that your shoulder can function, but pain is like a different signal as well. It's like really interesting, and like got him to do the shoulder arc test, which is basically where you just raise your arms to your side. Same thing, he was getting to like this position, loads of pain. Then I asked him to squeeze a tennis ball as hard as he could and do the same movement. He got way higher until the pain like kicked in. So like neurologically, it shows that by actually like sending the signal and intensifying some contraction, that the body can be safe. Do you know what I mean? Even like in some areas of pain. But I don't know these things because I've like just watched a video. I've like watched it, I've implemented it, and then I've gone back and thought like, why does that worked? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. Like that can sound incredibly technical, but like I know that you've worked your way up the chain to get to that result. With probably experimentation and understanding where you can maybe block like the initial show of pain, or the initial way the pain is presenting, in order to actually truly see what's causing it, and if you truly are as limited as you're first presenting. So yeah, like you said, even like we said in our last pod that we've recorded, where we were talking about addressing issues with the hinge, or like you were saying about Charlie and his foot, just starting from the ground up, like no pun intended, but starting from what's lacking its most basic function, and that's going to allow you to tap into the next thing, and having that kind of chronological approach to it is going to probably have you feeling a lot more capable as a coach than maybe you initially do feel, if you are feeling perhaps intimidated with helping someone with pain or some sort of chronic injury. Having that ability to start from the bottom and just chip away.
And just try stuff as well. Like, you're never going to get any better at coaching if you don't put the time and effort into coaching. Like, you'll do some things and they won't work, and it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're never going to develop if you don't try and make mistakes. It's way worse just like standing there doing nothing rather than actually getting stuck in.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's that follows on nicely to what we're going to talk about next in terms of managing a client's mentality when progressions can be really slow, and that can be spread across kind of in person and online a little bit more so, because sometimes progressions are a lot slower than what people might think, and even if they are slow, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're ineffective. So sometimes that requires a bit of communication. That can be done through the programming itself, and that could also be done through the way that you're explaining things, whether that's in a check-in or just your general comms with the client as well. How do you find that? Do you find any particular challenges with getting people to understand sometimes the true time scale of things?
Yeah, definitely. I think unless you're taking any sort of enhancement, whether it's a peptide or an anabolic steroid, then your progress is going to be very, very slow. Especially in terms of like muscle gain and skill acquisition. It's probably going to take a little bit longer than you expect, unless you're being like truly diligent week to week. And getting that across is easier for me now than it used to be. Within programming, I'll often ask somebody to do one drill, and then if I see something breaking down through like a certain point, I will regress to isolate the movement a little bit more. So like, I will take them backwards, but tell them why we're doing it. So like a strict ring muscle up, for example. I have one guy that's been like a little bit inconsistent because he had some travel, and just like not pulling down to where he needs to get to. Obviously, like if you have limited shoulder extension, it's already going to be difficult to bring your arms down into this position before you wrap. And that's probably one of the most common things with ring muscle ups. People will think they're finished pulling here, then they'll wrap to their shoulders. So yeah, I just took him back to like a ring lock off kind of hold in that position, and then some pull ups down to there, just to try and reinforce that position. And I was like, if you do not achieve this position, you will not get your ring muscle up. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that's like on you as the coach, right? To like identify and take someone back to a place that can be really familiar. So when they go into the full movement, that you're not regurgitating the same. You need to pull for longer. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not good enough just to say that. It's like, can you actually like intervene and coach to that point? So within programming, that's kind of the way I would approach it.
Yeah. Understanding the quality of the position that's needed is essentially what you've just described there, right? And yeah, I probably would do that in a very similar way. Likewise with the there is some instances, particularly with skill acquisition stuff, where I'll still be willing to give someone exposure to something so they understand the way it feels, even if I know they're not ready to move beyond that point. And even if I know that the things that are preceding that are the priorities and are way more important. Some people can get caught up in the fact of you're not allowed to do X, Y, and Z until you've done X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, this is the priority, this is the main driver. We understand that. You can get exposure to that, and you can still bring quality to that, like as best as you can, even if we know it's not very realistic that you're going to get there.
Yeah,
that's definitely a skill related nuanced thing, especially because the risk for injury is probably a little bit lower if you were to compare the same scenario in like a lifting scenario. And yeah, understanding that there's sometimes baselines that you need to work with as well to foundational strength to get you to move closer to certain skills. And like we already said with positions as well, even when we look at basic progressive overload, when we've got increase in RPEs, like it doesn't have to be an increase in RPE every single week. Sometimes you're going to see in the video how an RPE will look very different between the two weeks, and it's like, okay, that's completely fine that stays where it is, or that weight stays where it is for this week. We're going to have an adaptation within that, ready for when we want to move on.
Yeah, I think one thing that can be quite hard is like energy system development for probably in CrossFit as well, because you can't often see like where the output is at. Do you know what I mean? And it's based off of their interpretation of it, unless you're like seeing videos of transitions and like output and having all the data there as well.
Also the variation, right? Just the general variation of the week, unless you're using some sort of external tool like intervals or something, maybe just on an erg to achieve that. Still not always the exact same energy system that you're using in a mixed modal environment.
I think that would be probably one of the harder things to have a conversation around, like as a coach, if you don't quite know where they're at like in every session. If they're doing like intervals, you can kind of see it's a little bit more linear, like over the weeks, right? How they are improving. That's why you have benchmarks, right? It's like at the start and at the end, and you can see the improvement. But you can also just perform better in a test on one day in an isolated setting, right? So it can be quite hard to see that. That would probably be one of the harder things to see. I found that with like some running stuff, with high rocks people, like their perception of an RPE instead of pacing can be so different that then in testing it doesn't quite match up with where they should be or where you would expect them to be.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. And staying with the running theme as well, I always feel like people get very lured into faster progressions than what is suitable. with running, just because I think we are quite quick to adapt in terms of getting accustomed to the demands of running. That doesn't necessarily mean you're making like significant physiological adaptation to be able to deal with like massively increased intensities week to week, massively increased volumes. I think that is probably one of the most tempting things to overshoot, and obviously that has to be communicated as well.
Yeah, I think running's a big one. Yeah, very difficult to try and get across to some people. Like I do very minimal progressions, less than like on the High Rocks program that I write. It's very minimal progression every week. More so because like I know they're gonna overshoot probably in other days of the week as well, with like additional volume because they've seen online that they need to run fucking 100k in 2 days.
That's ultimate programming foresight is programming knowing that someone's gonna overshoot something randomly in their rest day.
I did a 10k trail. It's great.
Bit of a funny topic to follow on from that. How do we run a podcast where our core beliefs stay quite consistent? Trying to make it interesting for you guys, the listener.
I don't know. We also like how we have loads of we have very similar beliefs, right?
Yeah.
But the environment that I work in is, I would say, a lot more challenging to hold down like my beliefs without giving up sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Just for like context, I actually wrote a little piece on this yesterday that I will post soon. Bali really like epitomizes how fitness can be so different to like every individual, from no matter where they come from in the world, right? It's like something that is good for someone is completely not right for someone else. Whether that's like having ankle weights on and doing a follow along video on a yoga mat, which is probably Pilates, probably just cross the two. Or fucking shadow boxing in the corner and doing some landmine clean and jerks. Could be spinning a bamboo stick around or a PVC pipe for coordination training. Could be calisthenics, wearing bandanas on your head with your mates.
Literally keeping a football up. There's literally like football freestylers like coming to the gym.
Full sending CrossFit workouts every day. With really poor movement quality. Just coming in to get a picture. With like some people, literally, I swear they just come in to get a picture with the coaches. Do you know? They're like, you can see them waiting after the cool down. Can I get a picture? Like, do you know what I mean? It's so different to so many different people, which gives us quite a lot of stories to talk about here as well. Because like for some people, fitness it's just more of a tick box to say, oh, I've done something or feel like I've achieved something today, which like is fine. But to some people, they can't see past that as like as a frustration. And yeah, sometimes when you're trying to deliver a CrossFit class and you've got people in there that just want to be there for the sake of it, can be quite frustrating, but you have to kind of look past that when you're living in a place, when you're like delivering an experience for someone. Like I will always have my principles, and if somebody's not hitting depth in a wall ball, I will always go and tell them, because that is like what I need to do. It's like part of my job. Whether they do that or not is on them at the end of the day, but the only thing I can do is like, one, deliver the session in the way it should be, and then coach them as I see fit to the standard of like, say if it is in a CrossFit class, opposed to like on a Saturday, if somebody's like doing a wall bar, I'll still go and tell them, but like if they're not doing it consistently, like they're there just to like have a sweat and get a picture with their mates and whatever. But some people just can't see past that.
It's going to challenge your like kind of social understanding of, like you said, the way people perceive fitness differently, and for the same reason, like that will probably like challenge us and spark a bit of thought process to the things that we see on a daily basis in the gym, and then ultimately come and chat about on here.
And also like just seeing what people do like so badly wrong on social media, or conversations we have with people's like thought process without any maybe at any external questioning.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people in the fitness industry just like want to say stuff without being challenged, and like me and you are not always right, but we have like a belief system that we do try to challenge like all the time, and like we look externally for different things to bring into the way we coach. But a lot of people are just very like one dimensional, and that gives us topics to like go off on and like find some kind of maybe opposing view or the same view where things could be changed slightly.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I just thought of a metaphor. Have you heard of the expression like new money and old money?
Yeah,
like old money is kind of has been around the block a few times, understands the situation. New money is all guns blazing and is willing to flaunt it, right? And it's kind of like new fitness and old fitness sometimes, the way I think about it. Like especially in Bali, I think there's a lot of new fitness. There's a lot of bros coming in to optimize their life, and they're caught up on the peptides. They're aware on the stem cells, on the this, the that. The this,
one of my favorite things at the minute, it's just coming into my head as well, is exactly what you're saying, the optimization bros. And there's two of them that come to the gym. They have really big following. They're like big characters. They wear fingerless gloves, long hair, pants. Like they fucking look like, I don't even know what you would call it, but they're actually like quite funny as well. But they're like, their whole Instagram is about optimization. But as soon as they finish their session, they walk over the road and spark a fag up. And the first time I saw it, in my head, I was just like, this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, optimize the, like, talking about joints, talking about mobility, talking about how you recover your output. And then they're out there just like on the old Benson and Hedges, just fucking chuffing away. And I was just like driving out of the gym and on my way, just laughing on my way home. Like, this is the world we live in.
It's quite funny, isn't it? It's the duality of man. You can't escape the duality of man, even with the bells and whistles and the optimization of everything. At some point, it comes back to its ground level, which is funny. But yeah, a lot of new fitness, I think, in Bali. People jumping on things. You see the same type of people go through the same trends almost. Even within the 2 years that we've been here, we've seen trends come and go that often to our to our old fitness heads is quite funny to see. I think that's pretty much it in terms of the episode. Anything else you want to add in terms of this one?
I mean, I've got so many stories I could go into, but we'll save that for another pod.
Yeah, we could just turn it into a you've been framed episode if we really wanted to, can we? If you're old enough to remember You've Been Framed, what's the modern version of that now?
Oh, it's got to be, I don't know, just some meme, just some reels, I think.
It's just TikTok,
just
isn't
TikTok,
it?
yeah. You've Been Framed as just TikTok now.
Yeah, getting sponsored on
literally TikTok. That, I think. Like, we used to watch funny videos on a TV show.
Yeah.
Now it's just redundant because it's just constantly playing in the back of your head.
Yeah, it's just plugged into our veins.
Yeah.
Nice one. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Please drop us a like, share, subscribe if you've enjoyed our meandering through many a topic, and we'll look forward to the next one.
See you.